Hello, this is Garnet. I'm talking about Gary Small's talk at Google about his book iBrain, and I'm reading off my little notepad that I took my notes on. Right. So, let's see. He started off with some statistics talking about that an average U.S. young person in the United States, ages 12 to 17, spent 8.5 hours a day with technology, which I thought was sort of misleading, because what does he really mean with technology? Does he mean like an iPhone or a computer? Because, a chair is a form of technology, and I don't really expect, beds technology. It took mental thought to create a bed and lots of in-depth manufacturing process, but I don't think that's really what he meant. I think he really meant a computer. Um, but you die? No, it didn't die. Sorry. Um, I'm using uh, Michelle's iMac computer, and it goes black, and I can't see anything. Um, he was also talking about video game addictions. In China, they have rehab centers, and I want to learn more about video game addictions. I think my brother has a video game addiction. I know at some points in high school I had a video game addiction to StarCraft. There were some periods where I would play 18 hours straight of StarCraft and not sleep, nor move very far, maybe like 5 or 6 bathroom breaks over 18 hours. The trick was to keep like a shelf of food near you so you could just eat as you played. Um, right. I was talking about how to avoid an accident by putting your chin at a 45-degree angle. That's just common sense. I haven't seen someone run into something while texting in a long time, but I would like to see that. I thought the term digital natives was sort of strange, but I can sort of see where he's getting with that. So I think calling them digital is sort of antiquated. I know that sort of sounds weird, but I do think it's kind of antiquated. And the ability to multitask. Um, yeah. Michelle was saying, because she watched it with me, that in The Office, talking about Dwight playing Second Life, and how Dwight thought it would be really cool to have a Second Life in Second Life that you could play. um, uh, he was also talking about the type of game and the amount of use, going to game addiction or the trends with aggression. And I'm thinking that, have you ever played, well, for a while I signed up for Lumosity.com, and it's supposed to build memory. And actually, I found that my memory did increase by playing these games because it forced you to go in repetitive patterns over and over again, but in sort of a way that would be fun to do it over and over again. And you can learn to, like, memorize 12 digits in a row or something more easily. So it's kind of cool. Found the problem with literature was a focus on violent video games, and I want to see how they would divide video games up. I think that would be, it's something that we certainly should, all those psychiatrists and psychologists out there, that's a trend that they certainly should be following, and they should know to sort of segment it between the different types of video games. And I don't know what such a fascination on violent video games. I think the more passive ones, because there are a few of them, might be more interesting to look at. Of course, the Google employees would constantly ask me about technicalities as he's talking. There's also a trend seeing that worse ADHD with game and television. I keep applying this to my brother, who does have severe ADHD and spends all of his time playing video games and watching television. I think if you watch television later in life when doing your work, it's not as addictive. I'm wondering if there's a certain time period it has a worse effect for multitasking. It's talking about the older generation can't multitask, which I think is a bunch of BS, because I know my father multitasks quite well. Of course, when he's usually multitasking, he'll be watching TV and doing work on his computer, or he'll be talking like on the phone to a client while giving commands with his hand and trying to mouth things to his employees, which That's multitasking. And writing notes at the same time. Um, when they came up with abbreviations, I thought that that was sort of bizarre because I'm sure that those abbreviations are sort of used in specific regions, because I know I only recognized one of those in high school. I think that I used different abbreviations, but we tried to use abbreviations that didn't actually go to anything or went to an inside joke, so that, you know, if it was with our friends, that any onlookers would have no idea what it was because it was like a cipher, but with plain text, right? Um, um, I often find my friends that say they're great at multitasking actually aren't, because they never actually get any of their work done. They're like, yeah, I can multitask, I can listen and play this game and do my homework. They can't. They just think they can. Um, Talking about subjects group looking for brain patterns, looking on functional MRIs. I really liked the brain diagrams, but I thought it would be, there would be more color, but there was, considerable difference. Is the light shading changing, or I'm gonna wait and see what it looks like. See if okay, right. When he was talking about the neural network response to the mental challenge of using the computer and not using the computer, I know his book is based on this, but I wonder if you could see something similar on any task. For instance, if you had a chess game, and you had someone who often always plays chess about to play a game against someone, and have someone who never played chess before then play and see what their brain scans. I bet it'd be very similar. You know, or you do the same thing with a car mechanic, or I mean any task. I think that he could have talked more to see if it was specific to using technology, which I don't think it was. I think it actually, you would have seen similar trends with comparing MRI scans between anyone or any task, having two groups, one that's commonly does this task and another group that doesn't commonly do this task. And I think that he was, focusing it on technology and searching on Google, but really it could be applied to anything, and I think that holds true. Does anyone else agree with me? I was thinking about memory training programs and talking about surgeons who play video games make fewer errors. That could be through negative reinforcement or positive reinforcements, because, in video games, if you have to quickly and you have to be more thorough thinking ahead and planning, and depending on the game. Like, I know my friends that played RTSs in high school usually were better at planning for things, because they had to be used to their build sequence and thinking ahead, where action people who played the shoot 'em up like Counter-Strike or whatnot, they were usually more attentive to detail and would be more assertive, but I guess that's different types of attention to detail. Talking about a brain-computer interface technology that was coming out, I would be hard-pressed to use that. I know so a lot of people, it can be hard to control their thoughts, and if it's, do this or go do that, and especially if they interfaced it with your house, if you were in a really bad mood, what would happen? I know doing both of them, that could be kind of cool, and I know that there's games where you put this little thing on your head, or these little, and you can like make a ball raise by increasing your thoughts, or they sell it on TV where you're trying to think harder to blow air to push this ball up, and then it can go through a set of mazes or whatnot. I guess actually I should be in here. But, right. In the question and answer session at the end, it was difficult to hear the questions, so, you can plug in some earphones and try to listen carefully and turn up the volume. But the problem with that is when he talks again, it's really loud and hurts your ears. Trying to think of how looking at these brain function patterns can increase Google's ability to search, or to search better, using the data to make searching better. Sure. I don't know exactly. They can't really do much right now. They can sort of, if they took a better survey. I think those were sort of silly questions, but looking ahead, he said technology is adapting to what brains